Willkommen, willkommen. Today, I'm not alone. I have with me an army of demons. And I have with me Jerry. Hello.
Hello. Oh, my lord. Look at me go.
Yes.
In my tiny box.
A very tiny fitting box. How are you?
I'm full of the joys of spring. It's a delight to be invited.
As long as you don't have hay fever, that's fine. I guess. I've been told.
I don't have hay fever. I've got a slight tickly cough.
Yeah, me too. Dry air from all the heatings. Plus, hay fever is an exceptionally well thing to do.
I like to imagine I've just got the coronavirus.
Yeah, so. But who wants that?
But you know, we'll find out. I look after my mother, so that's my canary in the cage for me. If she suddenly keels over, then I definitely have the coronavirus.
Then you should have taken some masks. By the way, cheers. I'm having a bit of a dark.
Oh, sláinte. Look at that. People in the chat as well.
Oh no.
I'm trying to throttle back on my drinking. Because it's not good. I've drunk through several weeks' worth of contingency alcohol in the first week. So then I went out and bought more, then drank his too. Just like, oh dear.
Well, we wouldn't want to let anything of that go to waste, would we?
No.
So, do you want to start, or should I?
Well, since I'm the guest, I'll let you start.
Okay, so for all those listening and watching, Jerry has kindly provided a list of projects from the Spring Cleaning Challenge, and we will take turns in looking at them. I'm starting with a project by Mage, the Mage's Ark World Spring Cleaning Asbert Cavalry, and I see a lot of text. Do I need to read all that, or do we concentrate on nice pictures?
It's up to you, really. You can do a bit of both.
I think we'll start
because I'm in there and I'm going to smash some buttons while I'm here anyway.
Yeah, that's a nice idea. I think I will start with pictures because I had a glance at this first, and my first thought when I saw this particular mount was, I don't know why, but I had thoughts of Justin and his cock army.
That's a delightful thought, isn't it?
Yes, I still want to see those things in action.
He has been, if you haven't been paying attention, he has been ousted from his house, and he is now in a house of one.
Yes, I've seen that.
So,
Justin, just in case you see this video, man, I love you for taking all that shit from Warren, but hit back again sometime. You have my support.
It's terrible. But yeah, so...
with friends like these, who needs enemies?
Who needs enemies, indeed. What they call them, Chocobo Knights? Isn't that what they get called in one of the computer games that the kids enjoy?
Maybe.
I think it's something like, it's not Zelda or something, Final Fantasy maybe, Chicken Riders. Yeah, Ark World's a particularly bizarre place anyway.
Yeah, it's just totally weird seeing this sleek hen-like creature with a mount on it, and it doesn't help that this mount looks somehow like maybe Roman royalty. A bit of a snobbish look to him.
Could be French.
Could be
British. He's sort of semi-Napoleonic crusade type of helmet on him.
Yeah, and the sword with the hilt.
Yeah. Big basque-hilted saber. They're an unusual bunch of sculpts from Ark World. I'll give it that. It's one that I've managed to avoid buying anything from them so far, and it's not been easy, especially when they had their last Kickstarter.
I can see that the sculpts are really lovely, but this next one with the glasses I especially like because this glasses on nose is such a wonderful turn on the Mini. You don't see that often. Usually glasses are glued to the face with nothing in between, but on this Mini you actually could paint the eyes.
Yeah, they are just perched on the end of the nose, and he's rocking a fantastic handlebar mustache as well. He really cries out like he's some sort of faux Edwardian or Georgian sort of adventurer. You can see him. You can almost hear the stiff upper lip British accent. It's probably the faction as a whole all have that sort of feel to them.
The only thing that's missing is the teapot.
Mm-hmm. He probably has it on his back because he does have a. Do we have a Lloyd shot?
We have a Lloyd shot.
Yeah. There, apart from there appear being a smiley face on that backpack, which I don't know if that's deliberate or not.
Where do you see a smiley face? Let's begin. I think you're imagining that.
No, like there's two eyes and a mouth there in black, just right where your cursor is.
Well, but that's not smiling.
That is a smile. That's a smile. People in the comments will back me up. That's definitely a smiley face. But there's bound to be a teapot in there.
Has to be. Or at least some biscuits and cheese.
Yeah. Everybody likes cheese and crackers.
The necromancer is also very nice, though I would have thought that he would have some henchmen accompanying him, some walking corpse.
Maybe he's just starting out.
Apprentice.
This is his first time out there, hence the shovel. He's going to dig up his first couple of bodies.
Could be. You have heard the joke about the angry knight plotting revenge for his dead brother.
No.
So the angry knight is shouting at the clouds, "I will have revenge for my brother." And the dwarf says, "You have my axe." And the elf says, "And you have my bow." And the necromancer says, "And you will have your brother."
Oh, that's terrible.
It is.
Oh, I'll be using that at some point. If you hear that in the weekend, you know the words come from. Yeah,
and the next mini in the line, Crimson Rita. What the hell is that? A walking blueberry with a pokey stick?
That's quite clearly halfling berserking shield maiden.
That's a halfling. It's short for halfling.
No, it's the perfect size for a halfling. You tell us the perfect size for a halfling. It just about fits on the base. You.
We could ask Sam.
That's true. Wherever he's gone. There we go.
And
Last I heard he was fleeing south to study Terry Pratchett.
Oh, he could do worse. And we have a little dwarf. This is a halfling. Aha.
No,
Looks a bit larger.
Is it?
The text
That's
says...
just because it's male. Makes sense, really, when you think about it. He's a bloke. He's a bit bigger.
And he has a pointy stick.
He does have
and a very pointy finger.
Trolls. I don't know where on the troll he's attempting to insert that finger.
I don't think he's a proctologist. How's that
First
a word?
you enrage, yeah. First you enrage the troll, and then you stab the troll.
Tickle his tangleberries and see him run away.
Never pluck a dingleberry and never make juice out of a dingleberry.
I think you can't.
Well.
Oh, I should mention, this stream is for adults only. Bad puns are completely on my head, even if they come from Jerry. This video gets not monetized, so we can swear as much as we want.
There we are then.
There's no Google mouth caging me.
Excellent. Oh, there's a perfect example. The faction name is Albionica.
Albionican Captain, Alternative Scout.
Yeah. So, Albion, England, they are very British then. Or at least.
Albion the title of some fantasy novel? Some islands, I guess?
Yeah. It's normally connected to England. Britain is Albion. And in fantasy it used to be.
Wasn't that the King Arthur saga in some way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know the English title of the book. It's the Fogs of Albion?
It's entirely possible. Where the Seven Sisters take him off to heal him.
And we have some green dude.
Grandma Gator. A Byork witch doctor.
I can see the orc and part of the witch doctor.
I'm assuming it's holding that skull. It is holding that skull.
Yeah, it looks like so.
Is that buttocks peering out of its robe?
Maybe.
I suggest she pulls that robe up or gets a belt.
Or maybe that's no robe but pants, and they are somehow weighted.
Could be a possibility as well.
A goblin throwing fire berries, balls.
You're focusing on the berries today.
Yeah, even though I'm not that hungry. But that's...
It's an interesting colour scheme as well. I assume he's taken it from the Hobgoblin / Green Goblin from Marvel.
Yeah, the resemblance is there.
He had a blue and orange outfit, the Hobgoblin.
But is he throwing magic balls, or is that some...
I imagine he's a magicer rather than a bomber. Because if he's a bomber, his hands are on fire, and that's not going to help.
Yeah, but at what point in time did goblins ever care for such things?
Magic? Or self-preservation?
Or being on fire. I just look at the Doom Divers from the days back then.
Well, it depends how many shrooms you push into them. If you can get an awful lot of Doom Divers or fanatics, lace them all up with madcap mushrooms and let them go. Just release them into the wilderness.
Fun times.
Always.
Those were battle reports I even read, even though I'd never played Warhammer Fantasy Battle, but those when goblins just got total loony was great.
It's one of the reasons why I have a goblin army, because they were the most ridiculous random piece of, I'm not going to say garbage, but in a world of predictable armies, you could never be entirely certain that your goblins weren't going to do more damage to you than they were to your opponent.
Yeah, but that made the game a bit fun, not so sterile.
Very much so.
So, off to the next one. That would be 28mm Germans.
Yeah, this is a relatively short one at the moment, but I'll see where we get to. So Lavarius has a chain of command 28mm Panther that he had painted up in a late war, we'll say, because of the colour, 3-colour camo pattern.
Yeah.
And decided to bring it up to date.
28mm, that's big.
Yeah. I don't think the tanks are the right scale in 28mm. They should be closer to
somewhere in between 28.
They should be 1/48th, but people tend to make them in sort of 1/48. Bolt action, I think, are nearly all 1/48. They look very small in comparison. If you want to start a fight on a military history forum, just ask them what size vehicles they should be using for 28mm, and they'd sit back with popcorn.
Oh no, I've seen the video Mel did once for scaling wise, and the preamble alone that didn't watch the comments. It was too bad.
No, it's probably for the best. But yeah, he decided to repaint it and go for a 3-colour ambush pattern, which is one of my favourite German patterns.
Looks a bit more colourful. But did he strip them, or is that simply sprayed about?
The first one, I think he just sprayed over the top. So the scheme was done by filling in the gaps from the original stripes with Dimbo Brown. So he didn't even respray, just used the base as a rough guide, and then just started blocking it in. And then he went on afterwards and added another 2 in that he's done up from scratch.
Yeah, those look better.
Yeah.
And I have to agree, they look a bit small. I see the Legion figures on the back, that's a bit toyish.
Yeah. No, it might, well, I was going to say, it might be he's not playing 28mm chain of command, he could be playing 20mm. At that point, though, they would be massive.
Yeah, and as long as there are no infantry units, it doesn't really matter either way.
Oh, but there will be infantry. I quite like how he's painted the Balkan Cruise on the side there by hand, because with all the Zimrit over that, you're not getting a transfer onto it easily.
Oh,
you can,
but
just not easily.
The text to the picture says decals.
It does.
So maybe he used some of this fluid that makes them soft. What's it called again?
Well, decal fix or microset or
microset. That's the one I was looking for.
Is that? Oh, let me embigger one then, because it looked like the white hadn't quite covered there. I assumed you'd hand painted it.
Oh, it's a big picture.
Oh no, he's decaled it and then
yeah. Now we can
washed
see
over
this.
the top.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes life much easier. Cool. Very nice
and
indeed.
That's it. So he'd done 3 of them. Oh,
that's it so far. I wonder what's
not bad
next.
for 2 days' work.
Nope. So, I'm assuming if he started with the tanks, it does say he's getting a start on his on-hold Germans. So, I imagine we'll see some infantry in the future.
That would be nice. I'm spamming some buttons, and then we go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Which is Sprinkling Warhammer, something I don't have a clue about.
Oh, well, there you go.
Pointy head helps.
This will be more fun. First thing to notice is they're on their own bases, but we'll not worry about that.
As I have learned by watching videos on tabletop, bases are a relative term and can be subject to change at any time.
You can always use square bases in round-based games because the edges don't matter, but you can't use round bases in square-based games.
I still wait for the day that someone finds a good way to make baseless figures that still stand up.
Just all you need to do is put magnets in the feet of every model and then just have an entire sheet of steel under your 6x4.
That's one way. I thought you'd make metal casts of the leg and the rest is plastic.
Just weigh them down like a weeble.
Sort of.
That's a frightening thought. Anyway. So, do you want me to take this one then, since it is Wamster?
I would appreciate, because I really couldn't tell much about them. I don't even know if one of these minis is something special or rare. It's just pointy elves.
Well, if we start at the top then, where he has the many sweetie jars,
yes,
filled with all the static grass.
Great idea.
He has it's one of the classic high elf metal wizards, along with plastic bolt thrower. Is it? No, that's the metal bolt thrower, but plastic archers.
Yeah, but they look already nice, so I wouldn't. My standard wouldn't be to repaint them, but to each his own.
So, well, the infantry had been started before the challenge, but there are more units to follow, so they're just being lumped in with. But the dragon princes themselves, who were all sprayed or primed white there, are kicking off. So these are sold. I don't think they're available anymore. In fact, they've probably been replaced by those cow elves.
Oh, these moo heads.
It's an interesting colour scheme he's decided to go with for the dragon princes, because generally when you see them, their armour is a dragon colour.
More
so red, green,
tone.
Blue. They're always a striking colour, but he's actually decided to go for actually steel and gold, or steel and yellow. Not sure how he's decided to go with that. Oh, there's a Jerry shot at the end. The Lloyd shot and Jerry shot combined. It's like beautiful coming together.
It's the amalgamation of picture taking.
So Lizard Men. Lizard Men up next. The first week of lockdown, it only took me 23 years to get to painting these.
Well, that's faster than I have done for some of my models.
Yeah, very much so. So we have a set of skinks there. You know, it's a fairly standard skinky turquoise coloured scheme. A lot of frog dudes, yeah. They're quite nice, skinks and saurus.
Next up, Bretonians. I see sprues, a lot of them.
That really does date this. So that's a big pile of Bretonian men-at-arms.
He says
And
early 2004. Let's see if I can find a date on the sprues. Sometimes you can see them. But I think they're all the wrong way around for that. The date is on the other side.
I could go onto my roof loft and check. He's even got 2 Hero Quest orcs there. There's been a lot of those kicking around recently.
That's a game that's still on my want list. But that has to wait until I can afford that.
I should pick up Boris's new version of Hero Quest. I can't remember who he sculpted it for. I think it's called Lichmeyer. But he's resculpted all of the classic Hero Quest stuff in his own unique style.
Wasn't that a recent Kickstarter?
No. Well, maybe. There was a Kickstarter for Hero Quest, but it's died in its backside. I don't think it's the same. There's his
I thought the Westphalia miniature has something to do with it.
Not for Hero Quest. Boris is an independent sculptor, so he sculpts for a lot of people. Lichmeyer wasn't part of Westphalia's. But
no date on the sprues. Too bad.
Very nice Knights of the Realm from wherever they've been sitting.
I guess from somewhere on the shelf. Or behind boxes. Or maybe under his bed.
And they're just being built up into men-at-arms with bows.
I really love these.
It's the best way if you're a peasant.
I really love these little men with tiny metal heads.
Men with tiny metal heads? Are you sure? You mean tiny helmets?
Helmets, yes.
Yes.
Don't mind me. I'm the one speaking foreign language. And I'm tired as fuck.
But the kettle helms are quite nice. It's a very popular box, the Men-at-Arms set from Bretonia.
Popular meaning if you look for them on eBay, you pay a bit more.
Oh, if you look for anything with the word Bretonia in it, you're lucky if you're picking it up for, £50 or £60 type of thing. They are ridiculously expensive.
I should take a look at eBay what my 6th edition fantasy box is worth now. It's still unbuilt.
Which was 6th? Island of Blood?
It was Orcs versus Empire.
Right.
Around 96, 97?
I know the one.
It was a gift from my girlfriend 2 weeks ahead of release. Because I just started with Warhammer 40k, and somehow the local game store said to her, if he plays 40k, he wants fantasy. This is coming out next week. Have it.
Sure it wasn't a local Games Workshop?
Yes, we didn't have a local Games Workshop at that time. We have now. But the owner of that flagship store has a particular nickname. It sounds a bit like some poor dog's rich uncle.
Right.
But I'm not telling
names. I can
names.
understand that. Yep. No.
So next, the days. Repainting Ogre Spring Cleaning Army. That's a big dude.
He is. He's one of Skybore's finest.
It's a lot of canvas to paint on. But that isn't 28mm, is it?
It is. That's a 28mm ogre.
Because the army man in back, that looks more like 15mm. The grey ones, not the...
Yeah, they are 15. They look like Curacin 15s.
People do projects with proper pictures. Don't irritate me this way.
It's fine. You're all fine here.
Studio painting.
Not stripping the model, though.
Those skibo painted ogres look a bit too clean for my taste. Ogres should be more dirty.
it's a style they have for all of their whatever way their studio painter paints. There's an awful lot of non-metallics. Some of it looks absolutely stunning.
And here he gets some eyes.
He does indeed.
He has a bit of a stare.
He's been through a lot. It's like Nam. He's got that 1,000-yard stare on him.
He tried to buy toilet roll.
If you weren't there, you don't know. Looks quite nice.
Wrong trousers.
I know that the eyes look a little cartoon. I assume if you're not touching those up, the DS, because you will see this, I imagine, at some point. If you just go back in and just, because it goes from white straight into the skin tone, that's why they look very cartoony. You just want to underline those slightly with something, like a dark brown ink, because it will flow quite well.
The right eye doesn't seem so bad, but the left is a bit more like a twitching eye.
Yeah.
So, I forgot. Hitting the buttons. Just because I can.
Don't worry, I'm spamming away, but occasionally it just spins and doesn't count them, for reasons best known to itself. Well, I don't think you missed anything, Hedgeman Gary.
What? Is chat acting up? I did look.
No. He asked a little while ago, but I just got distracted and never answered it.
Next one.
Came in at the halflings. So.
Lovely.
Halflings was the first.
Lovely yellow stomper.
Yeah, well, I was going to skip this because there's not a huge amount in there, but I thought it's a stomper and you like stompers.
So. I love him. I still need to finish my whole orc army, all 3,500 points of them, plus the war trucks and the battle wagons and whatnot.
Outrageous.
Yeah. But on the other hand, all my Legion stuff is painted, except the escape pod.
Ooh, that is showing off, isn't it? I like this because he's going through, essentially testing, going, how am I going to finish this? Let's try a panel line sort of pin wash type thing with Agrax Earthshade. Okay, that kind of works. Then let's try this. Try a bit of Rizzo Rust.
It's a bit more...
I have to say, I'm not a fan of Rizzo Rust by itself.
It's a bit more classic approach to the model than we had last year with the potato head.
Made from the Shiba food thing, yeah.
The Shiba head and the potato head body with clockwork.
I don't know who's doing this, Hairy Brains. I don't know where you are in the world, Hairy Brains. That, which probably won't be actually visible.
Well,
actually, that's not bad.
Yeah.
So that is Rust effect by Model Mates. We carry the modern version of this, which is called Dirty Down. But it's an unusual thing if you've not seen it before, because you just paint it on. Find a crappy brush. And then just blob it onto base. And then, is that going to be visible?
It's a brown blob.
Right. But as that dries, and it dries very quickly because I think it's solvent based, it will actually texture into, it will dry into light orange and you'll start to get a texture, and then you can dub more on, and where you dub it on, it gets darker and darker. So you actually get the graduation from light rust through to dark rust, but you also get the texture behind it, which you don't normally get with paint.
If it's solvent based, you should be able to smell something, apart from paint.
No, you can.
On the subject of pigments, I made a little steel. I don't know if you can see this.
No, you disappear into
I'm
Demon
disappearing
World.
again. I'm doing that one.
You're doing a Warren.
Yeah. It's a set of 25 pastels that were for about £3.
Yep, that is the best way to get into pigments.
Yeah. Much to my anger and disappointment, I've bought from the craft store a few weeks ago 1 stick of brown for the same amount of money. Because the cheap one wasn't to get anywhere. I wanted to try it.
Well, these are the things that are sent to try us. But yeah, that...
and to have is better than to want.
Yeah, that Dirty Down Model Mates, I think, is an excellent way of doing it. You do have a problem, though, that is water-based. So you need to varnish it with a spray. You can't use a brush-on spray. But it gives a great effect. If you're going to stick with the Riza Rust, or Riza Rust, or whatever the hell they call it, I would put a dark reddish brown down first, like a dark flesh or I don't even know they change their names that often. But yeah, a dark chocolate / red brown as a base coat, and then Riza Rust on top of it. So you get a very distinct, almost chip, because the Riza Rust there just looks like somebody spilled orange paint on the ladder rather than actually looking like rust.
Since he's still in experimental phase, I guess we will see some more results later.
Well, I hope so.
Next one. I think this one is yours. It's Warhammer Historical. That's totally out of my league.
Warhammer Historical, you say, with my reputation. So this is Denzin, who did the absolutely fantastic Rorke's Drift thing last year and even put pictures up. So he's dug out Legends of the Old West and Legends of the High Sea to spring clean. Now, the first thing I have to point out is the chest in which he keeps his Legends of the Old West. Just his pirates. Because it's just, how piratey is that? Where do you keep your pirate models? In a chest, obviously.
Duh.
I imagine he had to get a map out, go and dig it out of whatever hole in the backyard it had been buried in, and then bring it inside and dust it off.
But at first he has to sail some seas.
Yeah. So he has a set out there. So for people who aren't into Warhammer Historical, it was set up by some of the guys from Warhammer. From GW, the likes of the Perrys and that sort of thing, because they're big into their historics, and they were sort of allowed to and use the name by the higher ups in GW as like a sop to them. It's like, okay, we'll let you do it.
So it's semi-official.
They were all very official. I'd never got High Seas because I wasn't into pirates, but I have the Old West up there. I can't remember which came first. They're based on Lord of the Rings, or Lord of the Rings is based on it, as far as game system goes. So if people have played the Middle-earth Lord of the Rings strategy battle thing game, whatever it's called, from GW, it's the same system for the Old West, and I think High Seas used it as well. So you've got like fate point type things.
Can you see what he's watching while painting? In the upper right corner.
Hang on, I'm sorry, I'm too busy looking at pirates.
I somehow recognize that logo on the lower right of that monitor.
No.
The big picture, you don't see the OTT?
No, I don't see an OTT. I might not be looking at the big picture. What picture are you looking at?
That's the one from the first paragraph, just the first where he's put them all out of the box.
All right.
Where his naked leg is to be seen.
Yeah, no. I can see the OTT there. No, I'd managed to find, if you look behind the chest, there's something...
I'd say it's the same video, the same logo, next to the teapot.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like an OTT there. It looks just like a pair of headphones or something to me. Then that's my eyes.
I would reckon if I embiggen, it's definitely OTT.
Does it embiggen? It does.
It does big embiggen.
Oh, no, I'm curious as to whose shirt that is.
I'd say...
Lance, probably.
Or maybe Lloyd.
I can't think... I don't think Lloyd wears check shirts like a lumberjack. But, yeah, it's possible.
Could be.
It's possible.
So we have bounty hunters with it. Somehow they give me a vibe of what's it called? This video game where you climb up some towers and fall down into haystacks.
Minecraft?
Nah, I don't think you climb towers in Minecraft.
I've no idea.
It's a Ubisoft title, that's what I know.
Fantasy World Dizzy.
Some
One of the kids will be able to tell us.
fictional stuff.
Pete says Legends of the West came first. I thought it did as well, Pete. But then whenever I was looking at the Lord of the Rings book, it had a date, I think, in advance of my copy of Legends, which confused me. But then I may not have bought Legends immediately.
I've just now seen that Tuffy is in the chat. So let me ask you one question. Is it Tuffy Ears or Tough Years? How do you pronounce your name? Tuffy Ears or Tough Years? It just occurred to me this afternoon. Wait a minute, you can pronounce it both ways.
I think we've always picked Tuffy Ears because of the picture of the sniper kitten that was used as her avatar.
True.
So I assumed it was Tuffy Ears. You know.
Well, we will stick with Tuffy Ears.
Yeah, the bounty hunters are very Plunkett McLean.
Oh, and he's already wearing a mask.
Well, you know, you hit that point in your life where you're just thinking, with all this coronavirus going about, why not take a hint from the highwayman? Cover up. There were so many masks and gloves down the town the other day here in Antrim. I thought I'd walked into an IRA funeral. It was shocking. Everybody was masked.
That was fun.
Yeah.
We have a cook.
A vicious-looking cook. Yeah.
A two-tone cook.
I like how he's gone from white aproned chef to leather, easily wiped, cleaned barber surgeon style of cook there as well.
Yeah, if he had painted him green, he would do a great proxy for an orc doc.
Don't do that. It'd be too small for an orc.
Yeah, maybe a grot assistant.
A grot assistant, yeah. They are lovely miniatures as well.
And a light shot from the same miniature.
Oh yeah, everybody gets Lloyd shots. The swashbuckler's been swashed and buckled. So this is what I like about the sprinkling challenge, where somebody's gone, yeah, you know what, I don't need to do much, because that swashbuckler's gone from white and white to more or less just a new hat.
Give the clothes some colour and a wash.
Yeah, and that was it. You know, the legs, I don't think the legs have been touched at all, or the arm. I think they're, or if they have, it's possibly just a light wash.
I think
over
the
it.
shoes got a bit brown, but that's all.
Yeah, but it shows
and
you don't
removed
need to,
some grass.
You don't need to spend an age doing. You know, you don't need to strip everything back to its bare bones and start again from scratch. That you can, I would, but that's also why I don't finish anything. So I just keep getting distracted.
Yeah, same here. I wouldn't ever dare to strip some minis just because I think I could do them better now. That would be...
I did. I learned how to strip stuff at a very young age, and that was my downfall, because that just became paint, strip it, paint it again, not like it, strip it, paint it again.
I don't have time for that.
No, I don't have time for it either. I have my bucket of... It's insight into my house. I have my bucket of Dettol here, and then every now and again I'll go in there and go, what's at the bottom of this? Take it out and finish cleaning it, and then just drop some new ones in. And they can sit down there for months. And the last time I took stuff out of it, they've been sitting in there for the guts of 7 or 8 months. It's like, whoa, what have I put in here?
It's a mystery bag you make by yourself.
It really is. It's great. And it smells fantastic.
I'll surprise myself for Christmas and put something in the spring. So we have here a surgeon that looks rather sandblasted in the face.
Well, you know, that's the salty sea air. It's never good. It's always going to cause you issues.
Could be. And a light shot again, with Jerry ambitions. A bit blurry.
Yeah, but we can read the ISBN numbers on his Penguin book so we can find out what he's been reading. So that's good.
Please don't say ISBN numbers. Please. It's ISB number or ISBN. The N stands for number. Please don't say ISBN number. I was gleefully unaware of this until one girlfriend of mine who worked in the bookshop told me that. And ever since, I can't unhear it.
It's like pins.
The Royal Navy. red and blue, and a bit desperate.
Here's an interesting thing. Put together a force based on Black Scorpion's range, which isn't historically accurate, but the whole game is Hollywood. That makes sense. Because I assumed that all of them would have been blue if they were Marines, but then they would often have complements of red coats on board for when they didn't want to waste proper naval people. They could just throw soldiers into the line of fire.
If they need to distract some natives running along.
Yeah. I think that's how it goes.
Some musketeers in line and fire. Those look a bit like zombies. At least this one with the sword down on the next picture. Maybe just
scruffy looking fella.
A bit like Eddie. And even more crewmen. That's a lot of Navy.
I think it's just because he's ginger. He's not actually a zombie.
Or maybe he has a sunburn on one side. He did do a lot of detail work on these navies.
Yeah, the brocade and frogging on the coats is very nice. And then we're into a bunch of privateers.
The one in the back with the blue vest somehow reminds me of the one dude from Pirates of the Caribbean. And I thought that when I saw him from above on the first picture.
Because of his mutton chop.
Yeah.
It's possible it could be based on him. Because if it's
Pirates of the Caribbean was much later, the movie.
Yeah, but if he got these from Black Scorpion, they may have been inspired by...
You mean late sculpts inspired by the movie for that? Okay, I get you.
Yeah,
that's probably it. A female captain.
Repainted her hair to make her brighter. Remember, blonde isn't yellow. Blonde's one of those tricky hair colours.
This is a rather long project, is it? But I think,
well, this is at the end, I think, with the privateers, full crew.
Well, that's a lot of minis. So, you play with the Empire against who?
For Legends of the High Seas, you've got various crews. So you can have the privateers as standalone privateer faction, I think, and then you also have British and Spanish, possibly Jamaican. It's a bit. So I never picked that one up because I wasn't massively into pirates, but it's very broad, Hollywood Captain Blood style of thing.
So not so much historical, but more.
It was historical. It's historical in the same way the old Legends of the Old West is. Technically, yes, there are Plains Indians and
featuring some really existing people with lots of add-on fluff.
Yeah, but running Mexicans against Wyatt Earp's outlaw band or whatever, you wouldn't have actually seen them. So
creative
Hollywood
freedom.
Historical, I think, is how they often put it.
Next
not working
up would be Warhammer again. Project.
Glad to see people spotting the numbers there. If you find out the names of any of the books, let us know.
Project Not Death by My Dog Skip.
So I think he actually started this at the weekend. The weekend, yes. Because I remember him asking what constituted in the Discord. It's like, what actually constitutes a spring clean challenge? Does this work? It's like, yes, okay, I'm off to do it then. So they normally play 40k.
As you do.
As I used to.
It seems every other seems to play it, but or at least own one or some armies.
But they're using the opportunity for the shutdown to actually get some stuff done for Age of Sigmar, so they can play something a bit different when they go back. I say a bit different. Age of Sigmar is just a 40k expansion. Pretty sure. They'll all blend together. You'll come in one day and there'll be Space Marines and Age of Sigmar and
But wasn't that some weird theory back way when that somehow the world of Warhammer Fantasy is just some lonely world within the 40k universe, and we just need some Space Marines landing there?
It wasn't a theory originally. It was a world cut off by warp storms, because the Slann essentially seeded the planet with people from the 40k universe as like a science experiment. So that's how they drew 40k into Warhammer, because Warhammer came first. So they went, there you go. Well, the Slann are obviously in charge of everything, which meant Sigmar was a missing Primarch, which was far more interesting. But then they went, nah, none of that. We'll change all that now. I miss the old days of science experiments.
Yeah,
you could tell they were connected because you could actually get 40k weapons for your fantasy. So you could have, I can't remember how they described them, but
some magic.
Apart from having swords and shields and stuff, they would occasionally get warp gifted weapons or something, and they were just power fists and plasma pistols and your disruptors and things like that.
I always thought the fact that some of the chaos demon models were meant for both ranges was a dead giveaway for the intention behind everything.
That's how everything is.
But then again, why sculpt two different demons if a demon is a demon?
Well, it's all tied together.
So he has foam inserts, a lot of them.
He does. That's something the kids do, I believe, for their carry cases.
Yeah, but I can see why with the fog-like, snappy-off type of miniatures.
They're fragile, to say the least. They're like those Zogabong sort of head things that people get whenever they're going to kids' parties.
Do they still use these? I don't know.
Probably. Sure, why not? But he does have some painted Sigmar stuff, which is the stuff currently living in the cases, but he also picked up a load of stuff, which is the pile of bits in assorted destruction.
Just pour some glue over it, give it a good shake, and you have an absolute stunning chaos mutant monster, whatever.
Yeah. It's the way to do it.
And a lot of books.
Change her the way he cares not.
He loves all his children. Yeah, some sideways pictures. Oh, if you hit cracking, that's my back.
If he was nice, he'd put one at the other side so you get to equally stretch your neck.
Yeah, some exercise. Oh no, broken off stuff. Pinning some... What's that?
It's meant to be a mace. I think it's a mace.
Yeah.
I say mace. Maul,
and he... I always thought the... what are these called again? The Sigma rights? No.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. I always call them Sigmarines because I can never remember the real name.
If you imagine them painted silver... I get the feeling I have seen them with someone. I can't remember who. Maybe some Cyberman? A wee bit, maybe?
Yeah.
The head, at least.
What was the... Nemesis? Was that what it was called? When the Cyberman returned with Sylvester McCoy, and they were led by a queen, and she was very similar to that. Although, to be fair, if you just paint their robes red there and keep their armor gold, they just fit straight into a Blood Angel army.
True.
Don't have to do anything at all.
If the models were multi-pose, you definitely could swap parts easily. Especially with the upped Ultramarines and Space Marines, the Primarists.
Oh, the Primarists, yeah. Stormcast Eternals,
Yeah. See, somebody's listening.
Somebody's listening to us. Shocking in and of itself that anybody's listening to us.
I blame you for that.
Yeah.
Next, Necrothrall.
Necrothrall, Sprinkling Challenge, The Lost Orcs.
Doing some 50
Found
pound.
these in his parents'... I like this. The Orc Warrior is still the original cellophane. I've no idea how long I bought them. The price tag says £15. I can give you a rough guess how long ago that was.
Let me guess, 20 years?
Well...
Plus or minus 5?
They still had price tags, so it had to be before 2001, because GW realised if they priced things with money, then if they put a price up, somebody had to spend their shift peeling all their stickers off and putting new stickers on, and that was a waste of somebody's time.
And money.
So they changed from numeric to letters. So they would say E,
yeah.
and it meant whenever they want to do a price rise, they just had to change the price stripping on the shelf, and all of your stock stayed, E's just went up by a $5. Don't have to reprice all of those.
You know who does this still today? Schleich.
Do they?
At least in my friendly local game store, there's an official price tag, and in every other store that sells Schleich, they are classified by colors. So you have orange, green, red, blue, whatever dot, concurring with some price, and you have to look out for what you buy.
That's very clever of them.
So if
somebody's dropped a green into the orange bucket and you go, oh, that's nice because everything else in here is orange, and then walk up to the till,
no,
the
colors are on the little tags that are attached to the minis. Bad. So if your child comes running up to you with gleeful eyes and saying, "Oh, Betty, please buy me this little one," and you say, "Oh, can't be that expensive," and then you get to the counter. Hey, wow, that's more expensive than my hobby.
It's nice to know that there are things more expensive than our hobby out there. He has a link away to his own personal blog. If people want to go and have a look at that, I suggest that, because he does have his evilly stuff. It's Necrothrall's Halls of the Damned, which in and of itself is a great name for a blog. But it's mostly just this kickoff of his build. So, Norks, thousands of them.
Yeah, a lot of building.
And I'm going to paint them. Then I better get them assembled. Oh, there we go. I thought he was going to say he was going to paint them on the sprue. I was having little twitchy moments there. I don't know how people can do it. You paint it on the sprue, you cut it off the sprue, and then there's a big grey bit where the sprue was that you're now going to touch up, which won't match.
I have to confess, you remember the glorious Hello Kitty Gundam?
Yeah.
That was partially painted on sprue. But hear me out, not the color, only the base coat, because there was so much flat surface. I said, this needs to be colored
beforehand. Yeah.
It's
funny story about that, right? Because we didn't really get a chance to talk about it whenever we did the unboxing, because my mouth was stuffed with licorice. I opened the box, seen the stuff, went, "Oh, we'll do that on the Weekender." Went, "Warren, we've got this. We're going to do it on the Weekender." Took all the packing out, threw it away, and there was the box for John. And I hadn't read the letter, so I went, "Oh, John, look, there's a box here for you." But it's an old Gundam. You'll like that? Just go, "Oh yeah, that'd be great." And he put his hand for it. It's like, "No, you can't have it yet. We've got to show it off on the Weekender." So then we got on the Weekender, and Warren started to read the letter, and I took the box out, and then Warren got to the bit where it's not for John. We're going, "Well, that's funny." And then we opened it, and it was painted. It's like, that's even better. He doesn't even get to paint it. Oh, his little face when I told him afterwards. It was a joy.
And I was really happy to see that he had caved in before, because she already had a pink one.
She already had one, yeah.
So there was... He had to paint one pink, and he got one pink for free.
Excellent. That's how the magic happens.
I had a big love doing it all the time. It was hard to keep it to myself. The only person I really talked about it to was Ama-chan, because she had something to say about details on it.
I did point out that there were still 2 fists left on the sprue that he could paint if he wanted.
He could.
So it's not like it was all painted for him.
And they're not
Everything
glued.
else was magnetized. So
the hands are not glued, so you could pull it apart.
So I suggested a big brass fist.
So let's go to the next one.
Bye for now, Necrothal.
We are revisiting Typhus.
Slupa's spring cleaning. He's gone all very chaosy and nerdly, and I imagine that's down to the virus.
If the 15 is an indication on his age, he may be the only entry for the youngster prize.
Who knows? We'll find out. Maybe he'll see this and go, yep, sure, I am 15, definitely. That's me.
Well, he's either 5 years old then, or 105. Yeah, but a modular base, very much appreciate that. I like minis on display bases, but for gaming they are a pain in the ass.
Is that the Forge World one then? Because I know Forge World are quite keen on doing display scenic bases. Did they do a Typhus before they released Typhus properly?
I couldn't say. It could also be handcrafted. But that's me talking about a game system I haven't touched in 10 years.
Let me see. If it's handcrafted, it's a hell of a job.
It is. Or maybe he nicked the parts of something else.
Could go either way, to be brutally honest. There's something unusual in pink, like a bit of rubber band stuck in the bottom of that modular base. Could be silicon.
He's talking about the paints, but not where the base from.
Oh, you can't trust people. Some people will talk about anything, like, I'm painting this, not, I bought this here.
Look at my paint job I have bought from this great man. But a semi-light shot with the scythe on the base.
It's nice work on it as well.
Yeah, and
I think that is Forge World. It has that. It's got a similar style armor to the Caliphract Terminators.
Yeah, and the
overlapping plates.
The little
shoulder.
skull in the corner there.
Yeah.
If it's not Forge World, it's a really good mock-up of one.
Could go either way.
Revisiting Kill Team.
Axis.
At least they're not called Axel. The Microsoft Attack Squad. You shall pay license fees.
If I can possibly avoid it.
Gates protects. Oh god, that could be a horrible themed army. Shoulder pads in the colors of the old Windows XP logo.
Yeah, or well, because it's Kill Team and these are not Death Company, Death Watch. So each one's drawn from a different chapter, so we could have his Excel, his PowerPoint, his Word. Anyway, each one
X's Outlook.
Yeah, exactly. So each one would have its own little shoulder pad motif and color. It'd be great. Somebody should definitely do that.
Use the Microsoft logos as transfers.
Cool. Update on the ISBNs. Apparently, fighting fantasy books. And Tuffy says it is the Forge World Horus Heresy Typhon. So there we go. See, I do pay attention to what GW does sometimes. I'm aware that they exist.
And they take a lot of money.
Finishing the bases, so he's basic and then working his way up. Okay, see how that goes for him. He has named everybody, which is nice.
Who needs to paint bases? I always wondered. Doing bases black usually is totally fine by me.
Cut them off and glue them onto clear acrylics.
Yeah, if the fast glues wouldn't leave such a bad staining, that would be an option. So, next up we have Uptrabor. Up and away.
Up.
And
And
those
as you rightly say,
are
away.
GW Goblins. Those are really old.
Are they?
He says way back early 1990s.
My word,
It's a dream of his.
Can't remember those goblins at all.
A big shiny ball of Christmas decoration.
Yeah, I do like the idea that he's decided to use or make a dirigible for his goblin winglet. So he's using a War Games Factory Orc Fort that he won off on tabletop, actually.
And now he's trying to win again with that.
Salute. Yeah.
Sneaky kid.
Fair fox to the man, as they say, round our way. If you can, why not? I'm just impressed he got his prize. By times I just see things where I won a prize 6 months ago and it still hasn't been sent to me. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Why do these companies say they're going to give a prize if they're not going to supply it whenever the person actually wins it?
That's what I was wondering. It's not OTT giving out those prizes, it's the company supplying them.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting a balloon. 2 balloons.
It's like the Montpellier goblins just floating along. And big wire.
A lot of copper.
Yeah, to make his harness for his gondola, which is great because then it means it holds the balls up in the air above you. It's fantastic. I'm all for that. And they are 25, so that will fit on a 50mm square, which is good.
I think this will look great.
Square. I think it's great. I'm still not entirely certain those are Games Workshop goblins, though.
No, I think I misread it because he said the idea was born in the early 1990s, so that may be goblins from wherever he nicked them off.
Yeah, they look a bit GW-like, but they also look like Shield Wolf miniatures.
Yeah, there are so many companies have been obviously inspired by the early designs.
They are plastic goblins, though. The fact that guy's got a shield on.
The two tooth on that shield remind me so much of Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
Yeah. I'll have to have well, I'm following it anyway. I will find out where up a tree where he's got his goblins from.
If push comes to shove, you pick him up and just shake him until he says.
That's true. Can I kick him from the side until he tells me personally? Is that a thing I'm allowed to do? I don't know. I don't know where my powers begin and end, to be fair. Could be. Who knows? I'm going to shields.
Next up, Narcos. I heard this is a TV show of sorts.
I have no idea about it.
I think
except it exists.
I haven't really. I've seen some memes about him now and then, but I never watched the Narcos the board game. Yeah.
Good news, everyone. I was right. They are Shield Wolf plastic goblins. Because I just went to the website to check. Because I'm that obsessive.
So now everybody can sleep tight, knowing where it's from.
Yeah, no need to spend all night just searching for goblins on the internet. But yeah, so Narcos, which I'm assuming it's a board game, is it?
At least description says
the board game from coolminiornot.com. I was thinking these quite nice. This is actually complete. There are two completed projects. They're also some of the shortest. So it didn't take them long to get these done. A board gaming standard. But I was looking at them and all I can think is they look like they're kind of almost regular sized for miniatures. So could I just use them in my Walking Dead games?
Maybe. This dude I have on screen now reminds me totally of Lando Calrissian.
Yeah, he does have that. It's the Tash, I think. Billy D. Williams.
Yeah. One of my favorite characters from the whole universe.
Well, Billy's the man. I like just the little bits of detail. Obviously, I've never seen Narcos, so I don't know whether or not people wore sky blue, stripy body warmers, or if they color scheme he's chosen is actually based on what they wore in the show.
Well, at
But it's
least
just
the
nice little
dude in the
touches.
middle seems to be Narcos. At least that's the one I've seen in some memes, and he really has these 80s clothes. So
Right.
that seems to be appropriate.
Cool. They're nice looking figures.
And he has square bases.
Yeah, some of them are round, some are square. I'm assuming that designates something in the game, whether square bases are mooks or a different faction or something else. Oh, look at that unusual patterning on the far right one there.
Yeah, it looks a bit like he's wearing this aluminum plated stuff.
It's like crappy herringbone check type of thing going on there.
Yeah.
And the guy who looks like he's come out of the jungle in his full combat gear there.
He probably has, because Narcos is somewhere in Southern America. Correct me on it. Narcos, Netflix series, yes. See. So hitting some buttons again.
Hope you kids are following along at home.
There will be a test on this.
We'll go back in and check to see what they were on whenever we started. If you haven't been smashing buttons, you all get the Justin Award.
And that sounds a bit threatening.
If you all end up in mutinous tetanus, you'll know why it's for.
Is that mini available as an STL file yet?
The mutinous tetanus?
Yeah, with some.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. In fact, I've got to go out on a limb and say that's where it came from. Warren found it on Thingiverse or something and bought it because he had to have it. That wasn't sculpted, or hopefully it wasn't 3D scanned. Jeez.
This would be a scary part if he had seen that
they've got
thing,
tiny little
gave
legs.
himself an idea, and then took a 3D scanner with him into the bathroom.
Just holding it like that. Why do you have tiny legs attached to your nutsack? That's not good. People will talk.
Just imagine the look on Andrea's face catching him doing the scan.
You know what it reminds me of, though? Labyrinth, A Tale of Sexual Awakening, with David Bowie, the Goblin King.
Great movie.
Brian Froud did a book called like the Spotter's Guide to Goblins, or a Goblin Field Guide or something like that. And one of the goblins in it has a semi-autonomous penis. So sometimes the penis will just run off, either in the case of self-preservation or, in an attempt to procreate without having to worry about how the goblin itself is feeling or what the goblin itself is doing. If the goblin's doing something more important and it's the time of the month when it's best to, couple, then the penis will just leave. And whenever I see the little mutinous tetanus, that's what I think of.
Well, it sounds plausible enough. It's
remind me of the babe.
It's like with some space of octopus that, when in stress, rips off his own testicles and throws it at the female.
Just get rid of it. Yeah.
The first time I heard that story, I was thinking, man, that's metal as fuck.
Guys, it's like praying mantises. So there's some octopus when they procreate, then they die afterwards. So to get around that, they will just tear their own penis off, or penis tentacle, throw it away. It will still
do
inseminate anyway, but it means that the octopus gets to live on.
This is not worth it. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Prodos did indeed make a set of Justin heads. I think we are down to one, which Thomas Menez turned into the Space Marine Justin with the microphone. So we know where that one is. We don't know where any of the other ones are, because otherwise they would be on all sorts of things, riding all over the place.
Riding a lot of mutinous tootness.
Yeah. So Briand123 is doing eBay Rescue Wood Elves.
Yeah,
so this is quite nice.
Those look like really old.
They are really old because there is a mix. So the ones with the pointy hoods are heads from the original Wood Elf plastics. not all of them are the bodies from the original Wood Elf plastic, so I think he's mixed and matched, because you used to get 2 heads with 1 body from the old Warhammer Regiment set that had Orc, Goblin, Skaven, Wood Elf, Dark Elf, and Dwarf in it. It was the weirdest box. You got 10 of each, so you got a box of 60 miniatures, and none of them could be used with the other ones. It's just like 10 random fibers. These days it'd be amazing, but back in the day it was a pain in the hole. That's why my first Warhammer army was a Dwarf Wood Elf army, because then I could kind of use Dark Elves as more Wood Elves as well, and it meant I could use half of the box myself. But he also has the more recent, and by more recent I mean still very old, plastic Wood Elves, and then a couple of the metal Scarlock Wood Elf archers in there. So it spans from sort of late 80s through to mid 90s.
Yeah, but seeing those on the wood bases, the art style is still so much similar that they really fit together.
Yeah, especially when he dug these out for eBay. Now, what's it say? Acquired them from eBay and jungle sale to turn into a unit for Oathmark, Saga, Warlords, and other similar fantasy games. I've bad news for him, because he's basing them on rounds. Oathmark, they need to be on squares.
So he's doing it wrong.
Yes. Now, the other games, so Kings of War, they also have to be on squares, but they're on different size squares. And Saga, doesn't matter what they're on, so they could be on squares. So really, square would have been the way to go there. Anyway, wasn't stripping the minis back, so he's working with the original colour schemes. So he's using Scale 75. Scale 75, a paint so matte that it actually sucks the light out of the room. It's an impressively matte finish with Scale 75. I don't know what it is. Gel-based.
Maybe they process some black holes for the paints.
I think so. It makes Phantom Black look like a shiny gloss finish. You can get them up to a similar colour scheme and standard, and then just hitting them all with wash, aka liquid talent, which is just a great name.
I have to admit, the first time I used washes, some years back, that it was a revelation. It made so much difference.
Well, that's nice when you click on them, they go the right way up.
If you're like me and you're only painting every now and then, and you don't do much more than blocking in base colors and highlighting is a pain in the ass, then these washes do wonders. And from there you can improve.
Yeah, if you can be bothered. Once you get a wash on your flying, if you want to go back and highlight, then happy days, and if not, they'll do the job. But I mean, there's quite a nice set of elves done very quickly, and despite being quite a disparate group to start with, they now look like a more cohesive force.
Yeah, and they somehow appear to me like not the typical clean, polished, high elf, snobby, but more like wood hunting, rugged up people. They've seen some shit, as you put it.
They have. Well, to be fair, the first thing they seen was the high elves going, "Yeah, we're going home now. You're all your own colonists. Enjoy your life in the woods. Bye."
See ya. Not.
Yeah, and then they're still fucked off back to Ultimate. Go hope you don't get eaten by things.
So we have next up Night Runner. Adventures of Frank and Ollie. I had this before. This is why there are so much colorful buttons. When I've got them first, they only had the base done, and I like this skull very much.
Has moved on a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how Libby and Conran fit on here. I'm pretty sure I have Libby somewhere.
It's hard to say because they're not shown next to each other, so I have a hard time scaling the base. It could be any size.
Yeah, because it's sitting on what looks like a biscuit tin. But we don't know if that's the size of your hand or the size of a small tin of sweets or something huge.
It looks more like a smaller version of the tin for the Star Wars pocket models I have, and that isn't very much. It's basically the size of a hand. And judging by the
I'm
stairs, I'd say that's
yeah.
maybe 3 inches by 5 inches maximum.
I imagine we'll find out. I'm guessing Libby's going to go on top of that skull on her saber-toothed tiger cat thing.
With the base
Which
painting ready, I'm now at that stage that really looks day and night from the beginning.
Does it? Yeah, it's nice to see it starting to come together.
The moss growing and the green effect is really cool.
And then you've got stalactites there off the back of the rock, or something of that ilk. Just the little spines coming down.
Oh, and then even more, some roots. This is getting better and better.
You can see why I picked it, even though you showed it off before.
I never doubted your wisdom.
He's coming along at a rate of knots. I even like the I suppose, frame that he's got it set up on. We did that before with something, and it's like a data reel or architrave strip or something like that. You know, it's just a fancy little bit of wood that you can use to do beading on cabinets and things like that. So you can get quite a long strip for like £5, which for doing the edges of dioramas and stuff like this is very reasonable, because you can get 2 or 3 out of it, and it really looks like, you know, it sets off quite nicely.
And there is this silver metal on it in the last picture, so we have a size comparison, and that is a big base. It's bigger than I imagined.
Yeah, Lily will be on her tiger on the top, so that makes sense. Probably post this on Thursday. Until then, keep saying, well, there you go. So folks can tune in on Thursday to see how this gets on. I imagine that's most of the base done now, bar any touch-ups after the animals go on.
Yeah, so this is really, really nice. Roots are real roots. That's why they look so genuine.
It's the best way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny how you never think of such things before someone tells you. I never would have thought to take, for example, tea leaves as some leaves in terrain. And then somebody comes over, have you tried dried tea? I said, what?
I know people would say, oh, if you want to do earth basing, then your best bet is to go into the back garden and get some earth and then put it into the oven and bake it. I think you have to bake it at about 180 for half an hour to kill any microbes that are in it. But then afterwards you can just use it. The problem, though, with using natural components like dirt or leaves or roots is you do have to seal them in some way to stop them degrading over time.
Or you'll get yellow snow.
Yellow snow. Nobody wants yellow snow.
So
they were so happy whenever I handed in an hour-long jerry can. You never know how happy Lloyd and Warren were when they seen that.
I have the feeling I've heard the scream of the editors.
Oh, well, there's only one editor because Ryan was on holidays. So Justin got to edit that.
But it's really fascinating that some so seemingly simple thing like plain white snow could go so south.
They did suggest I could have split it into, you know, shorter ones of each type, but the whole point was to show here's the types and here's how they look compared to each other. And if you're just going, here's how it looks with baking powder, you're going, oh, that looks quite good. And here's how it looks with flock. Oh, that's quite good. Here's how it looks with
the comparison.
Whereas being able to put them all up and go, that shit, don't use them. That one's going to yellow over time, like we.
And I would have bet if you have stuck to 1 or 2 ways of making snow, somebody in the comments would have said, but you didn't do snow this way. I have to. You didn't do snow with glass shards. You didn't.
I didn't. Well, the Chrysel I have, does shine. It didn't show up under camera. I don't know if there's glass particulate in it, but it's quite difficult to get. Last time I seen somebody doing a Secret Weapon used to sell ground glass as snow, but then they're in America where they laugh at things like healthcare, so they don't mind if people are inhaling fragments of glass.
Last time I saw somebody using that, he took a light bulb and grind it down in a chisel.
He just grind himself.
And then did some, it sprinkled over, but it was in a closed diorama, so I guess it's fine. as long as
Yeah,
nobody opens
yeah.
the diorama.
Yeah, that's all fine. We're all fine here. Don't worry about that.
Before
So
opening
this
the
is...
diorama, please sign this waiver.
Don't lick it.
Yeah, look it.
Yeah, you do
Not
need to do your stormtroopers, Pete. Weirdly, I was looking at your snow speeders, the speeder bikes, thinking, where's the rest of the snow speeders or troopers gone? Speaking of Pete,
yeah, we have Panzer
here's a
Kaputt.
Hans Kaputt's spring clean
Let me
challenge.
just say, if he's really serious with that nickname, he needs to add another T. Kaputt is spelled with 2 T's. Panzer Kaputt.
What does it mean to you? Because Kaputt is just broken.
Yeah, it's literally the same in German, but in German you spell it with T. Kaputt is totally busted, broken.
Yeah.
By the way, I watched the video on the jerry cans, and I was very amused about the fact that the British called them jerry cans because German engineering was so bad, and then the German jerry cans were so much better.
We're so much better than theirs. Yeah.
Could you please decide on what is what?
They're very... They flip-flop a lot, you know.
Maybe with the preamble where World War II German engineering wasn't that bad, but World War II engineering kicked it up buckets.
Over-engineered, I think, is where it got to.
A wee bit. But don't tell John, otherwise you'll get lectured in tanks again.
So...
We have the beginning. That's what I already showed, these enormous amounts of plastic and banners. And
he made all the banners and all the plastics. But at least he had a plan.
A cunning plan.
That was last week, and since then
we have some square bases.
I assume he's been... Oh, yeah, we don't just have square bases. I think he's been doing lines of cocaine while sitting at home bored, because he based everything that he had built. Then he primed everything. So he's sitting in a position where he's going, everything's ready to paint now. I've done all of this. I've done twice the amount of miniatures I need to do for this game because reasons.
Why not?
And as I said to him when I looked at it, if you click the bottom left one there, where you get
the end
that
result?
One. No, the one you were hovering on the bottom left in that image gallery. So that's what a League of Rotary Army looks like, and it's a thing of beauty. I just loved it. I looked at it and went, "Oh, Pete, it's like staring into the sun.
Did
Too
you
much
have
of
a
that, you'll
little
go blind."
nerdgasm?
Oh, I really did. Oh, it was delightful.
I recall him complaining this today on Discord about how painting yellow sucks.
Yeah.
Because he primed them black.
Could be worse. Somebody on a face page group made a comment to the effect of, I'm just getting started in such and such, how would I do such and such? And he wanted to paint things yellow, and somebody went, don't paint black then. Prime white, work from there, and you'll be grand. At which point somebody else jumped in, went off on one, going, no, you can't paint white and yellow over black. It's the proper way to do it. It's the advanced way to do it. And then just start posting pictures of his stuff and going, come on, let me see your stuff. And I'm just thinking, don't be a gobshite. The he's just starting. That bloke's trying to help him out by going, don't paint black because you'll just give yourself and you coming in going, do 20 layers of yellow over the top to get a superior result just makes you look like a massive bell end.
I have this sudden flashback to a certain movie where the drill sergeant is yelling at the people, do 20 push-ups.
Oh, very much so. So
sometimes people really are the worst.
People are the worst. Very much so.
I always wonder, these people who are maybe not being evil per se, but just mindless, did they really start being this way ever, or did somebody do this to them and they are now repaying?
I think I think as a hobby as a whole, we tend to attract a lot of people who are on the spectrum, who for doing fine detail and stuff is great and it's beautiful, but it also means they don't have really particularly developed social skills, so they don't realise that they're being a massive twat. Maybe as Robert says, people are just cats. Could go either way. So this is
A glorious
Pete's,
light shot.
Pete's first unit, which I think was like Friday. 20 down, first regiment out of the way, boom, done, dusted, let's move
I
on.
watched him posting the pictures in Discord and went, dude, I haven't picked up my brush in 2 days. Please.
In the same amount of time, I managed to lift some stuff out onto my desk and then put it away, and so that was quite good.
Yeah,
I really like the color choice as well, though.
Yeah, it looks really natural. And
it's
in this time, he does all this. I had my normal workday and maybe 3 hours of playing Fallout 4. Because I couldn't be asked to get out paint and water.
That's the way to go. So we have our first unit done. Beautiful they were. In red and green. And I'm going, okay, well, grand, that's fine. I'll be able to catch up on that. And then, like, day 2, let's move on with Henry Holland's Duke of Exeter Regiment of Men-at-Arms. Going, you what? And so there's a unit of polearm men-at-arms. And it's a quick technique, but it gets them to gaming standard really, really quickly. It's a sepia wash you use, Pete, and then just go back in and re-highlight with your base coat.
The good thing on having armies
go back to work.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. The good thing about mass armies with more or less equal uniforms is you can really make a conveyor belt of painting. You start at one end and use the same color on multiple miniatures, and when you're done with the last, the first one will be completely dry, and you can start with the next.
Yeah, and you can see just how effective it is as we look through the multiple shots of the Duke of Exeter's regiment.
Oh, there's the army list. That's his text. I can't read this.
That's all right. I've read it already. It's pretty good. It's solid. It's good. We'll get a couple of games in. We'll see if it needs to be fixed. However,
are these bright or are these dark? I can't decide.
I
get mixed signals.
So on the subject of the nice thing about conveyor belting people with the same colours, Pete's decided to throw us all a curveball by using the same colours, but deciding to do stripes, chevrons, quartered, halved, and polka dot patterns. Because, sometimes life isn't difficult enough, not when you're doing 20 men a night, while I assume.
I bet this unit has been painted after he's done a line of coke.
Yeah, oh yeah, very much so.
I can't explain it any other way.
No.
Let's go for the light. Oh, God.
Yeah, see, because I would have just went half and half for everybody. Good, grand, let's move on.
Just alternate between doing the half vertically and horizontally.
Yeah. No. Doesn't give the true feeling of what your bannerman would look like. So they're not actually. It's not actually red. It's meant to be. It's an orange, but you're using like a pink base color to make it for coverage.
Well, it looks pretty red to me.
So it's but based on their standard, they shouldn't be. So it may just be the flash. Yeah. Well, he's got the rest of his army painted. If he wants to go back in and highlight them with orange to make them more orange, then there you go. Like Coke, we all like Coke.
I think
it is an orange. There you go.
To hit some buttons here.
You really do. Model color. I don't have that orange. It's terrible. Why do I not have that orange?
Put it on the list for the next shopping spree.
Yeah, I should do. I'll just move things. I have this though, which is German orange, which I think is probably quite close to it because it's quite pinkish. In its base color, it covers quite well. Although I tend to use browns, like mustard browns or ochres, whenever I'm needing to build up.
Next up, and the almost last one, because I have one in the backhand.
Oh, I wonder if I go with this clever
64 one. Spring cleaning cyberpunk.
Yes, I had to do this because
cyberpunk.
I'm a fan of cyberpunk.
Wait, I can't seem to. Where that is. I probably will blur out.
So as you disappeared to the past, I was clever. This normally lives on the shelf behind me and right at the very top, so I lifted my copy down before. We're like cyberpunk twins. You've disappeared completely.
I did.
Just the punk coming out.
It's the black version
Yeah.
from way back when.
Well, mine's second edition, 2020.
Yeah, I've got this. I've got this when most of my friends in the early 90s went Shadowrun, and I thought, well, yeah,
Let's say
cyber
something
I
better.
get, but cyber and magic, boah.
I've never. I was very much on the cyberpunk side of things myself. I'm not a fan of Shadowrun, and having played it again last year when a friend ran it, I was going, yeah, I remember why I don't like Shadowrun.
It's
all-
just too many variables. Anybody you speak to could be a hidden dragon, and this is such a...
Yeah,
Why bother?
there you go. Pete's with us there. Punk rules, Shadowrun sucks.
I'm really
yeah.
looking forward to the video game by CD Projekt Red. I hope they do it right.
I've played one and a bit of their Witcher games, so yeah, I have high hopes.
I didn't. I have the second one somewhere. Got it with a Humble Bundle, and I played about an hour, and I got totally bored because it was more reading than gaming. And if I want to read, I pick up a book.
I played the first one. I quite like this, and then I've got the third one, which I've just started playing. I say just started playing. I've had it for quite some time, but I've only just started playing it. But I keep doing things like I've got to go and speak to somebody in the tower. I'm not getting off my horse, so I'll just ride the horse up the stairs because I can.
If it works.
It's really annoying. But yeah.
Yeah,
so
we have
see
some Guitar Man.
Yeah, so
Again, with a
a
glorious
rocker
Jerry
with
and
a
Lloyd
Lloyd
shot.
shot. If people pay attention whenever I do news articles, if there's ever a Lloyd shot in the news article, because I have to name the pictures when we're putting them up on the site, it will say things like, Exo Tripper front, and then Exo Tripper _ Lloyd. So anytime you see a back shot in an article I've written, it will be tagged as a Lloyd shot, because that just amuses me.
I have to keep look out for that.
So solos, rockers are okay, nomads are better. But there's some interesting figures there, and he's taken them from a whole host of places as well, which is nice.
The vehicles look cool.
Yeah. Hint is, I can't remember, it's that Nakatomi thingy, isn't it? Yeah. But there's a whole host of them. Obviously, there's models coming from the people who ran away from Guild Force 9 for Cyberpunk. Which look quite nice, but Cyberpunk seems to be getting a bit of a revival, so it's nice to see this, and I absolutely love the detail he's doing in the actual board. So the terrain that he's got there, which is just a mixture of scatter that he's got from all over the place. For various games, you've got like the regular barrels and bits of cyber junk and tech, and like
You
an old
never can
safe
go
and-
wrong with barrels.
Yeah. Something that looks like a moisture evaporator in, like a steampunk world.
Or maybe a comms link, a dead door.
Who knows? Cables leading into the hacker's den. But then it's when you actually hit the terrain build itself. This blew me away, because you've got things like the mattresses and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
And
these look so real.
yeah, and it's gorgeous. I need to poke him to find out where he got those from, because I know there's a few companies have done. I think TT Combat do things like they call it alleyway furniture, stuff that's been thrown into an alley. So you've got like a mattress, but the mattress is like folded over as if it's been thrown against the wall type of thing. So it's all buckled and filthy. But I like this idea. You've just got a little hacker's den with cyberware sitting on the big reclining seat.
I'm scrolling through the terrain, and it's just gorgeous pieces.
Yeah, that Dead Zone modular system that he's using for the bases there is fantastic. And there's so many you can get intact, you can get ruined, you can get industrial parts, you can get conveyor belts and stuff for the industrial ones, and a lot of pipe work, and it can all be mixed in. So I've got a ton of it for Dead Zone, which I'll be breaking out at some point because I have some cyberpunky stuff of my own to do from Arto.
This thing under another building looks like you could use it for every system out there, from Fallout to 40k to anything. It's so generic.
Yeah, every full panel is 3-inch square. So even though you've got maybe, and then they do 3/4 full panels and 1/4 panel for the rune sections, but it means you've got that base 3-inch, and you go, okay, well that's a standard. Well, it used to be a standard high elevation in Necro and in 40k. I don't know if that is anymore. They even bother with heights.
Is that resin or plastic?
That's plastic. That's hard plastic sprues.
So it's a bit of rigid enough to be carried around and not snap off.
Do I have a piece there? I've got some of the red brick ones here because there's actually a tutorial coming on how to do red brick. But this is the same thing. So it's a 3-inch square, and then there's like a half round one. You see all the holes around it that you can see me shining through. They actually do little clip systems that you can clip it then 180 or 90 degrees. And then there's also ones for the roofs. So you can, if you want, clip it together and then take it apart and store it. Or you can clip it together and run glue down it and keep it forever.
So these clips are enforcing these ones?
Yeah. They're exactly the same. So
these ones I have on screen now.
Yes. So those are the clips. So he could, if he hasn't. There's a lot of texturing in there, so it looks like he's glued that together permanently. But those are made that you can actually push them apart, and if you want to store it then somewhere, or you can. I've taken a halfway house, so I've made sections that are glued for my Dead Zone, maybe like one level, or small sub-assemblies that are completely glued, and then other parts are left separate so that I can stack them up to make big pieces like that, but then also break them down so they can be put into one box and set away. So the Dead Zone terrain is great. If anybody's doing any sci-fi at all, it would be my go-to terrain set. It's very handy.
It's really tempting, especially because if you have these 3x3 for Legion, it's fitting the elevations of the flight stands, and it would also fit Fallout. So 2 of my active systems, bingo.
yeah. Oh, it's definitely it's worth a look. Keep an eye because Mantic occasionally do sales on their stuff as well. At which point you'll be able to pick it up relatively cheap.
Sales,
if you have if you don't have a supplier near you.
Not currently.
Mantic isn't massively spread out all over the place, so it's tricky. Sometimes you end up just having to go back to them and get it direct.
I think they used to have a sales booth at the Tactica, so maybe next year I have to go on the lookout for them.
Yeah.
By the way, honestly, if you ever have the chance to go to the Tactica, do it. There are so many.
Hamburg.
Yeah. It's astonishing. It's a rather small venue, but there's so much stuff in it. You have painting tutorials, you have classes, you have the Perry brothers do live sculpts all weekend long.
Ooh, cheeky.
So they just sit there in the corner and do their work, and you can watch them while browsing all the sales.
I must have. Might be one to put on the list for next year. We'll see where we are. If I'm not dead. Here's an interesting question. There's graffiti up the wall saying "Free Edwin Parsi." Do you know who Edwin Parsi is? Because I can't remember him from Cyberpunk. I'm wondering. I wonder if it's something.
I could look it up, but I wouldn't dare to open my browser history now. There are things that can be learned from Justin.
Well, I imagine so. I had a flick through Cyberpunk, couldn't see him, but I swear I've heard the name before. So, anyway. Yeah, Alicia's Cyberpunk is looking terrific at the moment.
Edwin Parsi from Dread, says Torso.
Ah! That'll be it.
Google says Judge Dredd. See?
That's why I know the name. That's why we keep you around, Steve. Well done. Well done.
I award points to you.
Yeah, 2 points to
Gryffindor.
Ross. He's ahead of everybody now. So yeah, so I quite like how that's coming together, and I'll show you why. Oh,
You're gonna make me jelly again, do you?
no. Oh. So I have this, which
Hydrophilia.
is, the Artel are always doing the 40k-esque stuff.
Yeah.
But this is their own game called Hydrophilia, and the boxes come like this,
Oh,
so
so cool.
they look like 1980s
VHS cassettes.
video cassettes. So that is the Syndicate, if you can see that.
Is that new?
It started coming out last year. The system is still sort of beta testing. It's available for free on their website. Then there's the government, Midnight Justice, and the models are they're all resin, they're absolutely stunning.
Whoever did the packaging job deserves a raise. This is just so awesome.
And then the last one is Nishimura, because every good cyberpunk needs a Japanese style. And they look like that. So these are the 3 starter sets I've got to unbox and build and review.
Oh God!
But they also, but anybody who keeps going, oh, I hate Artel and I hate these companies who are always ripping off GW. This isn't ripping off GW. So
I don't have to ask you. You have seen the Gobbo blimp that went up today. I'm totally in love with this sculptor. He first does the Grot in the Crypt, then he does the Mandalorian. Now he does blimps. As I said in the comments, if these were around when I played 40k back in the day, I would have gone into debt to get them.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
But on the other hand, that was 25 years ago. GW would have sued them to oblivion and beyond.
Well,
and
they still would if they could.
Some more.
Well, actually, no. To be fair, they tried to sue somebody and then fluffed it, and now they can't sue anymore. So, hey ho. But yeah.
So this sprinkling challenge getting some much deserved smashing of the buttons.
Smash all the buttons.
I hope these will register. Looks like it. And some more. This is really coming along nice. I was a bit disturbed because he started with a finished painted unit.
Rocker. Yeah.
So I had one that I had more or less been handed to me.
Okay. I'll move that.
It's from Blinky.
Oh, my eyes, my Augen. Oh, yes, because this wasn't
Cyberpunk
originally
diorama. I think he was a bit mad at me because I said his app wasn't the best.
You're the worst. You're so mean to him.
I'm German. I'm by default the worst.
But he was originally going to make it just a pure Back to the Future.
Yeah, and
homage.
Have you seen Just the Walls when he posted them and said, "I gave these to my wife. She painted them up. I need to up my game now."
No, I'd missed that one.
He handed them, as far as I recall, he handed them to just paint the bricks a bit to make these walls, and she gave it back to him with all the airbrush tags, even recreated from the vicinity of his home. So these are real sprayer tags.
That's amazing.
That's some effort.
Yeah, I know his wife does landscapes and stuff like that. That's her hobby. So clearly not been wasted there.
No, that's really, really, really cool. And the minis also a very nice and clean work. I never could play that cleanly. I just get the shakes and then I ruin everything.
That looks like a bolt pistol in his hand.
Could be.
Say who makes the miniatures. I'll have to go back in there.
Maybe
the word he used was wanky. It was, I remember. remember Blinky coming into the chat and say wanky over and over again.
Yeah, I may have overdone it a bit. Oh, he's doing dirt. Some tarmac. So if he gets a gold button for this, his wife should get at least half.
Half of it.
At least.
Wonder if we can get him just a silver button. If we get Lloyd to make a silver button deliberately for him.
Or we get him the golden button, but we add his wife's name on.
His wife's name to it.
Stamped over his.
That would work too. Yeah, yeah.
Embossing it over. Why does he do that? Other people would just have taken some clay and modeled it, not recreating tarmac.
Yeah.
This amount of attention to detail gets me every time. I adore it to bits, but I couldn't be asked to do it.
It's the obsessive nature coming through.
I know for a fact, if I would try to do something on that scale, even just for a diorama, halfway through I would go mental.
But if he had just done that in polystyrene, he probably wouldn't be able to have a working sewer system in there, because I can see the gratings. Yeah. Imagine if you just like spray water on that, it'll just run down.
Probably.
Carried harmlessly away from all the electronics in his wanky app system.
Well, we are not talking about high voltage here, so it shouldn't be too dangerous.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and this is the technical part I already spoke last week about. This I couldn't. First of all, I couldn't do this, and I wouldn't care to do it, because I know I would find enjoyment in doing it and having it work, but then it would sit on a shelf and nobody would care. And about half a year later, when I tried to rig it up again, it wouldn't work, and I would wonder, wow, why doesn't it work? And then get tossed aside.
That's why we're analog men in a digital world, Pun Dancer. Just like, my tiny fighting men. None of my tiny fighting men require an app to make them play games. Oh, there we go. That's where he got his stuff from.
Yeah, it seems so.
So he got it from some sort of 3D printing thing. There's a
patron.
There's a Goro from
that fighting game the kids play.
Mortal Kombat. Is that it?
Yeah, and we have here the flying car from what you call it?
Blade Runner. It's a spinner.
Blade Runner. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Finding words is hard.
Very.
Yeah, I love these things. I wouldn't do them myself, but kudos to everybody who does them and does them well at that point.
Yeah, they do look well when they're done up. See, lighting up the lights in the street. Yeah. Doing a straight light, that's mental. He's mental. He's not right.
Is that lamp in the finished product? I didn't think I saw it. Yeah, there it is. In the front right corner.
Oh, yes. Yes. It's not lit up, though.
Not yet. I think he talked about doing a proper video when it's dark today. So he may be just now recording.
Oh, that would be clever. I wonder how far he's going to go. Is he going to have little video recordings of people walking about an apartment that you can just kind of see through the window, playing on an LCD?
He did the digital numbers on the shoulder pads on freehand. Oh my god, I hate you. I hate you so much.
That's all right. He'll be paid back in time. Just call it wanky again. He did it, but it's wanky.
I could try to find something that are not 100% according to electrical rules and nag about them. You need another capacitor for that.
I thought, fuck's sake, whenever you scroll past the Anycubic there, I thought that was like a building, like a McDonald's drive-thru or something. with the little riff on it.
I did so too for the first time.
Because I'm looking at that going, it's not just like a drive-through. What's going on? Oh, right, no, that's actually
The trouble is, my daughter has a Playmobil building that looks exactly like that. The same color, the same window size.
There's a spring clean challenge somewhere where there's a fella who's using Playmobil and Thomas the Tank Engine toys, which we get covered in the future. So, yeah.
Every time I hear Tom's Tank Engine, I can't imagine that old steam engine, but I really think of a tank called Tom. And I think somebody did the conversion somewhere with a tiger called Tom.
There's plenty of that sort of nuttery about. It's best not to Google weird Thomas the Tank Engine things, because there's an awful lot of it on the internet.
That's stuff for nightmares.
Very much so.
So,
cool.
Instead of a half an hour, like I did the last 2 times, we are closing in on 2 hours.
In my defense, I talk a lot.
Don't worry, I was always a bit upset of me not getting further than a half an hour, but talking by yourself is a bit hard.
It is, isn't it?
There's some, even with people in the chat, there's the banter, the putting in of information to each other is just missing. So Jerry, I'm very thankful for you to be here. For everybody in the chat, we almost had a catastrophe here because Warren was threatening us to join us. Lucky for us, he busted his back and is lying down now. Warren, if you see this, I love you, man. Lay down. Don't strain your back. We need you when this all blows over.
I get too much time spent sitting on that hard little chair at the end of his bed, doing the weekender.
No, I think he was doing the garden and tried to rip out some roots by his bare hands, pretending to be 20. Let me tell you, Warren, you're not. Neither am I. I have machines doing the root plucking.
Yeah, they're always deeper and harder to get up than you think.
Because these damn trees and shrubberies grow themselves, and they grow deep. And sometimes we find dwarfs.
All of these things.
Okay, so with this, I thank you, Jerry. Everybody in the chat, to my left, thank you. And I have you all... I hope you all have a good night. You had some fun. When this thing gets downloaded, I will upload it to YouTube as usual, so you can all have some more fun. Happy hunting, do your spring cleaning, wash your hands, stay safe. Bye.